What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house that's going to be torn down soon.
I understand that there are power lines that are getting kind of close.
What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building.
I'm joined today. I got double trouble. I got Michael and Suzy. How are you doing today?
We are great, and even better now that we're here with you. Woo.
Yeah, awesome. Long time in the making, as they say. And I got to tell you, it's really great talking to you two. But I got to let you in. I'm even more excited about the fact that my very favorite audience member is watching today. How cool is that? And why are they watching? It's because this is a chance encounter where I interview syndicators, investors, and operators of commercial real estate deals. Why do I do that? Well, part of it is because I'm big on compliance, but the other reason is because you have to find out if there's any overlap between your business and the people who are in your circle and around you. So before we get too excited on all those juicy details, you guys want to introduce yourself a little bit for the audience?
Yeah, you go.
You go.
Okay, so my name's Suzy, and this is Michael. We live in Cambridge, England, but we do invest in the US. So Michael just finished writing his thesis because he's super cool. And I'm a PhD thesis, sorry. And I'm a full-time real estate investor. And together we like to travel and we love our cat.
That's a beautiful answer. Michael, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think Suzy pretty much wrapped everything up there. Yeah.
Yeah, she did a pretty killer job, but I didn't want to get you a sign line. But you'll get this. There's one more thing, which is but wait, check your 8. It's your 8, but it's the audience's 5. It's kind of under my. Can you see if the audience's subscribe button is red or gray? Can you see it?
I need to click that.
Yeah, like if it's red, you really should be clicking it. But the first thing I'm going through here, all jokes aside, is the 5 distinct motivators that people I've found have to get into commercial real estate. It's like, so that way we know what your staying power is. And the first of these motivators, and I find all of these are distinct. The first one is some people are in this to preserve their purchasing power. And they're doing that because they've already got a portfolio of assets that is cash flowing, and they use that to make ends meet. But when inflation rears its ugly head, they got to make a new acquisition, borrowing against the assets that they have because they're not the type who are going to be offloading. So that's what some people are up to. That's not where I'm at. What I'm up to is trading time directly for wealth instead of salary. So I've got a background in technology. It makes me a high income earner. But the problem with that is that you're giving half away to taxes. And so it hit me as like, right, why not skip a step and then be rewarded in the form of deployed equity? So that's what I'm up to. But a lot of people get into this because they want to fast track retirement, and maybe that means they just want to take control of their time. In other words, maybe they want to work fewer months per year, fewer weeks per month, fewer hours per week, and that's some people. But they're looking to basically lower the amount of hustle that they need to do. But that's different from the next two. The next one, they're so ambitious, they want to buy their entire hometown. They just want that generational wealth. They may want to make sure that their great grandchildren never have to hold down a day job, and that's their level of ambition. And they're fantastic because they're going to hustle into their 90s. So it's a great teammate to have. But the last group, they've picked a sector of society, or maybe it's the environment or animals, or they want to send people to Mars or something like that. And they realize that you need your financial situation all buttoned up if you're going to have that kind of real impact on society. So that's why they end up building this commercial real estate portfolio. So Michael and Suzy, of those 5 different motivations, what describes you best? Like what combination of those?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Help
people who need it.
And we say that because like Michael and I, our whole investment thesis is we focus on a different ROI, return on impact. And so with return on impact, we really want to make sure that like we're impacting the community that we're investing in. We're impacting the people who are investing with us, all of our partners, whether that's the property manager, the insurance company, like all of the humans, like everyone deserves a fighting chance to think about more than like their basic needs, which are usually like shelter and food.
It's a beautiful, beautiful answer. And
Thank
that
you.
brings, what's that, Michael?
Oh, no, I said thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't hear it quite clearly. So that brings me to my next question. This is the weird one as far as I'm concerned, which is a tolerance for risk assessment. The question's a fill in the blank question. There are many popular investment asset classes, but I think blank is too risky.
Amazon drop shipping.
Amazon dropship. I love that you said that. Just coming from the digital side, like you're the first one to say that. Like seriously, like you're at the whim of Jeff Bezos. It's like, how long have you been paying attention to this man? I love that you say that. So Suzy, are you in the same boat, or do you, I may have colored your answer, but
No, I'm not going to give another answer because that one was too good.
yeah, that's a really, really killer answer. That's going on. I hear that, Facebook Marketplace, same thing. It's like, you don't control your list. It's got so much bad news all over it, which is why we're in commercial real estate. And speaking of commercial real estate, one of my big goals is to make sure that you in the camera there can effectively communicate on the topic of commercial real estate. The easiest way that I can help you do that is if you go to dandoesdeals.com and you download your own Dan Does Deals commercial roll die. And very stupidly, I didn't even ask for your email address. You can just download and print it out, because that's what I want you to do. So you can show it to your friends and your family, and then that way you get really confident in being able to explain how all this stuff works.
I like it.
Right. So in every episode of this Chance Encounter, I go through all 6. Takes a couple minutes. Let's talk about what repositioners are. They are acquisitions people. They look at a lot of different properties and they do some paperwork. What is the paperwork? Well, first of all, since they're dealing with sellers and brokers, the first thing they have to do, there's a fancy word for it, it's called underwriting. And it means doing the math. They're figuring out, is this business actually even making the amount of money that the sellers are claiming it is? And then they have to think, how can I change it so it makes even more money than it is right now? Now, the repositioners have 3 tools in their tool belt for this. The first one is talking to more advantageous financiers. In other words, getting better lending terms, cheaper money, that sort of thing. So financiers are people who deal only with money and paper. And chances are for a lot of repositioners, you're not going to get much wiggle room compared to others. So the first trick that the repositioners tend to look at too is operations. Make them more efficient to get fewer of these Benjamins going down those toilets. And of course, there's more to operations than just unclogging toilets. There's also cleaning the hallways, mowing the lawns, and collecting rents. There's one side that's one of my fortes, which is a marketing side, which is to make sure that the vacancy rate stays low. But my programming background also means a lot of operations, a lot of automations are things that I can do. But the operations bit probably isn't enough. Real estate's super duper hot. So they get a contractor team in to make the units nicer. And if the units are nicer, then the next tenants will pay more in rent than the previous ones, and they'll do it with a smile on their face. But if you are like Michael and Suzy, who are out in England, or you're like me, I'm from the internet, you got a problem on your hands, which is you need a local. You need somebody who can be there in an hour or two, the boots on the ground. Because I'm going to be at the airport in an hour or two if I get there. So that's not me. So the next part of this puzzle is when the repositioner finds the property, says, this checks out, this is what I want to do. They turn around to the financiers and say, hey, I can get this property. It's just tens of millions of dollars. You don't have to happen to have, say, like tens of millions of dollars you want to lend me, do you? Well, the financier is going to turn around to the repositioner and says, okay, well, all this stuff checks out, but who's your KP? Who's your sponsor? And this one, on some coaching programs, they kind of gloss over this piece, and this is how it works. If you want to be eligible for one of these commercial loans, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset. So even if you are Jeff Bezos, if you want to buy a 350 unit apartment complex and get a commercial loan for it, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset. And then if you have enough liquidity and you have a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan, you've got yourself a commercial real estate deal. So Michael, Suzy, where do you guys fit in? What are your core competencies? that you are most likely to contribute to your next deal?
So I think there's three. So
Ooh.
repositioner,
Yes.
Mhm.
operator,
Mhm.
and sponsor.
Oh, but one day after December 20th, we will also be local.
Holy moly. Back on the state side, this side of the pond. That sounds fantastic. All right, cool. So,
Four out of six.
sorry, what's that, Michael?
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6, not bad. But that's the thing is nobody's all of the sides for any meaningful amount of time. But the neat part that I want to get to next, though, is actually the buy box. And when commercial investors are talking to each other and they're saying, "What's your ideal property?" they're really asking about three things. The first one's geography. So which states, which counties, which neighborhoods, okay, it all counts. Second one's the size. We're talking about multifamily, so generally that's going to be unit count, okay, because somebody who's in 5 to 10 units is not going to be in 500 units at a shot. So that size is super duper important. The third one is class, and unfortunately they use the same word for two different things. The first meaning of class is it has to do with, is it old and beat up, or is it up to date but not very luxurious, or is it brand spanking new with all the amenities and all that kind of stuff? That's one meaning of class. The other one has to do with the location that the property is in terms of what's the crime rate like, what are the school districts like, and both of those two they rate with the same system as in grade school, where it could be like a B minus or like an A or like a C or something like that. So as far as properties that are really in your sweet spot, guys, what's easier to say yes to, more difficult to say no to?
Let's see.
Easier to say yes to are like B's in B's, right? But instead of doing like a unit count, I think it would more depend on how much it costs now, right? Because like that's a huge part. Like, yes, I'd love it to be like 60 through 100, but in that number, like where is the cutoff of where property manager can be there on site all the time, right? Because it costs more and can create more income. Like with a C class where we usually invest, which is Oklahoma, like you usually need 100 units for there to be on-site property management 9 to 5. But then when you get to B, where it creates more income, or A, like where is that sweet spot with the number of units? But always yes would be B area, B class, and we do say yes to like C plus B minus for area and class.
Mm-hmm. And as far as like states or counties or anything in particular, you're thinking like the Sun Belt or
Tulsa,
yeah,
Tulsa
Oklahoma.
Metro and the Oklahoma City Metro, and soon to be the Columbus Metro area
Yeah.
in Ohio.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. And so my next question then, like we were mentioning before about how nobody's all six sides of the die at any given time, but because we all have our own core competencies, where we tend to be better suited to help some people more than others. And me personally, because of my marketing background and digital funnels, all that kind of ridiculousness, the sponsors, KPs, those are the people who I can help disproportionately well. And that's because they've already got a foundation to go off of. Whereas when you're first getting started, you need grunts. You need people who will put in, 80-hour weeks, week after week, and really get some stuff done that way. And I'm more of the person to deploy, like, okay, what's actually working and what's not. So that's who I'm looking for. And I don't know if you guys have any 506B deals, but don't go enticing investors. I don't know if you have to like waggle a donut in front of the camera to entice an investor or not. But don't be doing that if you have any 506B deals. But who are you really looking for? Is it beginners, or is it one of the sides of the die and specifically, or who can you help most?
Who can we help most? That's a hard one. I mean, I guess I would say other operators who are getting to our area or just into the space, right? Because like eventually Michael and I want to coach. So to be able to help new operators come in just like operators helped us is huge, because like, as I mentioned earlier, the impact thing also isn't just with the community and the people we work with, it's the people who we can also help come into the space, so that if they want to retire their parents, they can, or if they want to retire their spouse, or if they just want to travel the world for 5 years, like it doesn't matter what their why is, like being able to get to a place where they think that they can actually achieve it now, where it becomes like a goal instead of a dream, that's huge.
That's absolutely beautiful. I really love that. And my next question then is like, we ended up meeting through some meetups and basically via LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's a great way to reach me. But what's the best way to reach out to you guys? Is it LinkedIn, or is there a website that's better? Or
Yeah, so the best way, I think, Suzy and I are obviously very active on LinkedIn. So Suzy Sevier, Michael Barnhart on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find us very easily, message us, say that you heard us on Chance Encounters, and we will definitely accept your connection.
Yeah, and respond.
Yeah.
But also, if LinkedIn's not your thing, at our website, you can go to adventurousrei.com/info. And there it's like pick your own poison. If you prefer Instagram, you can find our Instagram. And if you prefer Facebook or email, you can find that there also.
I love that. I love that. And not just because it's self-serving, but that really is one of the reasons why I made the format I did for Chance Encounters, is because I think that if you turn around to somebody who's been my guest and you said, hey, I saw your Chance Encounter interview, I do think it is a little bit different, because we don't spend much time talking about like when you're 8 years old and somebody stole your bicycle or something like that. It's like, how many units, what exactly are you going to do? Like, where are you looking? All that kind of stuff. But the last thing that I need to mention, though, it's actually not for you too. You've been incredible, but I need to talk to you for a second, which is that under my left hand here, you like watch your, like, if you have this searing pain in your eyeballs that like hurts your brain right in the back of your skull, it's because there's this big ugly red button that says subscribe on it, and the only cure is to click on the button. It turns it into the gray button of tranquility. You need to see it. Like, and also you don't want people thinking you're like not a subscriber. If they walk by, they see the red button, what are they going to do? It's going to be terrible. So make sure you do that. All it means is that it doesn't cost you anything. It just means that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions. But I appreciate the fact that you spent this time with me, just like Suzy and Michael. I really appreciate you coming on and getting to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you so much for having us join.
Thank you.
Sweet, thanks.
Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay, are you already logged into 506B me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506B me, everybody.